My mom is making me keep the abuse I went through a secret. My ex-husband abused me pretty badly. Whatever abuse you could think of and make it 10 times worse. That's what I had to go through for 2 years. I've been divorced for 1 year now and I'm still going to therapy because of it. I never let anyone pursue me. He ruined me forever. While I'm going through all this shit, he got engaged. I shared with my mom that I want to text his fiancée and tell her that he's not who she thinks he is and that he's an abusive rapist psychopath, but my mom told me not to. Maybe he changed, he's starting a new life. Don't be the person ruining new beginnings. She's the first person I ever told about the abuse. She told me not to report it, not to take the rape kit, not to press charges, not to tell his family, not to tell my dad, not to tell anyone, or else I'll just be another victim. People would just see me as a weak woman or someone who couldn't defend themselves. I can't just sit back and watch what happened to me happen to someone else. What if he didn't change? I can't believe he could change. No matter what kind of therapy he goes through, he would manipulate his therapist. I know so much crap about this man, I could ruin his whole life and career, but I'm not doing that because I love his family. My mother threatened to cut me off if I ever do anything about it. She says I'm not over it. Well, yes, I'm not over it, but I don't want to tell this woman what he did just to ruin his life. I'm telling her because I love her. Even if I don't know her, I don't want anyone ever to go through it. It's not envy, it's a warning. I wish I could just close my eyes and wake up someone different with a different life and no past, but I'm here trying to make the right decision. His mother would totally come after me for telling that to his fiancée. Did I mention that I ran to her once to tell her everything and asked her to stay until my mom could get me, and she called him to take me home? First off, your mom is terrible. Wish you didn't listen to her at all since the beginning. She obviously cares about him and her own public image more than you. But at this point, even if you said anything with good intentions to his fiancé, there is very low possibility that she would take you seriously. If you really want to save her, you need to show her proof, not your words. Personally, I wouldn't believe an ex-wife if there is no proof. Plus, he can take revenge. So be careful. Don't be the person ruining new beginnings. That's what he did. Your mom ruined your chance to get justice, and maybe enabling him to make another victim. If you can stop that from happening, do it. And F his family. If you ruin his life, so be it. You have the right of it 100%. You're doing this out of love and a desire to protect another woman from having to go through what you went through. You sound incredibly brave from your post, and you're right, it doesn't like he can change. Be careful going forward, and I wish you all the luck in the world. Your mother is despicable. She should be your advocate, not the one with the broom shoving you under the rug. You are her family. She should be storming the gates with you to get justice, but instead she's the coward. She doesn't want the drama in her life. She doesn't care about you or the damage done to you in this situation. That's disgusting. I would have cut her off for this. Why keep such a woman in your life? Stand up for yourself and get your justice any way you can. After I left my abusive husband, my mom told me to go back and try to work it out because divorce is a sin. Sometimes moms do not know what's best. I also tried to warn his next wife. She didn't believe me even though he had been charged with DV and the court records were freely available online. Apparently none of his next 3 wives believed it until they experienced it. They never do. I think your intention is good. I've been there and I know. But if I were you, I'd stay out of it. Stop worrying about your mom and his mom and everyone else and focus on your healing. My 26F husband, 24 meters, and my daughters, 5F and 3F, use me as a pillow. I have 3 children, my 2 daughters and then my son. My husband sleeps kinda on top of my arm and my leg, so I can't really move, and recently my daughters have been sleeping with us. My daughter sleeps on top of my other arm, and my other daughter sleeps on top of my stomach. My son doesn't sleep with us. I can't sleep, it's extremely uncomfortable, and I can't move my daughters because I can't really move my arms. How can I get my daughters to stop sleeping on me? Update: thank you everyone for giving me advice. I tried to look at every comment, Buy £20 blanket for your husband. And be blunt but mature, tell your kids that it's bedtime. This is the only reply I really like. Everyone keeps saying, oh, just buy them X, Y, and Z. Sure, maybe a night lie, but no, they are your children. You are the parent. Act like one and put them to bed. All the kids start sleeping in their own beds. It's not always easy, it takes a lot of patience and consistency. Try putting them in their beds at night and staying with them until they fall asleep. Then if they try crawling in your bed later, you walk them back to their bed, give them a snuggle, and sit with them until they go back to sleep. Repeat as necessary. And you start training your husband to stay on his side of the bed. Maybe get him one of those body pillows to drape himself over. My son would wake up in the middle of the night, we would change him, and he would spend the rest of the night in bed with us. He grew to the point that his little razor toenails were right at the wrong spot and he would kick me in the balls with those talons. I got tired of it one night and put him back in his bed. Told my wife that we weren't going to keep putting him in bed with us and it was time for him to go back to his own bed. He cried for 3 hours. My wife rocked him, we sat next to his toddler bed, we left him there on his own. For 3 hours. It sucked. Next night it was half an hour. Next night he stayed in his own room without complaint. It's hard, but you gotta put your foot down. Man, all these people saying ignore everyone who says tell them no, or to join a group etc. Literally be the parent and tell them they need to sleep in their own rooms. Man shrugging, you probably should start with the husband first and just tell him it's really uncomfortable. Buy them some kind of new nightlight, princess bed canopy, glow-in-the-dark stars. Like something cool that will make them want to sleep in their own room. As for your husband, roll him over lol. Do the Ross Geller hug and roll. First you need to start easing your daughters into their own beds and out of your bedroom. You're setting yourself up for failure. Once you do that, work on your husband. My 31F boyfriend, 40M, made a weird rapey comment about my brother, 28M. My brother, who's straight, hates my boyfriend, who's straight, because my boyfriend is older and recently divorced. My brother was over when my boyfriend happened to call me. My brother saw it was my BF calling because my phone was on the table, and immediately my brother started talking stupid shit in the background, just stuff like doesn't he have anything better to do, which my boyfriend overheard. I immediately yelled at my brother and told him to stop being so disrespectful. My boyfriend understandably said he was going to go and call me later, so he hung up. Later on I called my boyfriend and apologized for my brother's antics. My boyfriend, who is completely straight, then yelled a very strange comment in anger to me about the whole situation. Not that I'd ever want him to, but I'd make your pansy ass brother suck my D if I wanted to, and he'd do it. He later insisted he was just mad and didn't mean anything by it. While they both acted inappropriately, I've never had a significant other make such a creepy comment before. He's never hurt anyone to my knowledge, but he does have a bad temper. What do I do? How common is it for a straight male to say things like this? TL, Dr. Boyfriend made rapey comment about my brother out of anger and I'm still creeped out. What do I do? Edit, Lamau, thanks for the wholesome award. It's gross that that's where his mind goes when he's angry. You seem concerned about what that says about his sexuality in terms of being straight, but personally I'd be more worried about what that means in terms of how he sees conflict in terms of needing to put the other person in their place. Surely as your boyfriend he should try to respect your family and support your relationship with them. Telling you how he'd like to have control over your brother and harm him, even if it wasn't sexual, is really not okay. Add to that the fact that his mind jumps to a sex act when thinking about power and control, and as you're the person who is presumably sleeping with him, that isn't ideal. Obviously you don't need to confirm or deny details about your sex life here, as that's not what this is about, but if you perform oral sex on him and that act is linked to control and anger in his mind, let's just say I wouldn't be jumping into bed with the guy if I were in your shoes right now. I also think it's telling that he is using his anger as an excuse. It might well be the reason, but if he's saying stuff like that in anger, then he needs to work on controlling his emotions, not trying to tell you to be okay with his behavior. Yuck. So does your boyfriend inherently see it as a degrading act whenever you perform oral on him? I feel like this statement says a lot about his character and how he perceives power and control in relation to sex and gender. That statement was gross. Rape why? Alpha jock meathead shit that is both stupid and far too immature for a 40+ man to be spewing. And he directed it at your brother. I do not keep any people who think it's moderately okay to say shit like that in my life, because the company I keep also reflects on my character. Is this the kind of man you want to be with, and if so, what does it say about your character? Yeah, that's weird and creepy and extremely meathead alpha rapey. Also low-key homophobic that he's insulting your brother by specifically saying he'd do it. For me, a bad temper is an immediate deal breaker. I guess it's up to you to figure out if you're willing to deal with your boyfriend saying nasty shit and excusing himself because he was mad. Did he even apologize or acknowledge how fucked up his comment is? High-key homophobic. Your brother makes comments about him having nothing better to do and your boyfriend's response is to make a rape threat. I honestly got the ages mixed up while reading and thought a dumb alpha type 20-year-old was saying this. 40-year-old man is saying these types of rapey things. That's... yikes. This is just more proof that rape is not about sex, it's about power and control. Your brother might be acting like a brat, but it sounds like he has a bad feeling about your boyfriend, and he's just choosing to express it in a very immature way. If your heterosexual boyfriend uses rape, or threats of rape, to assert dominance over another man, what's to stop him from doing it to a woman? This is just my humble opinion. But if I had proof that my boyfriend thought of blowjobs as a way to degrade and humiliate the person giving him oral sex, I would never, ever want to touch his DK again. Anyways, best of luck to you, op. You will get plenty of advice telling you to see communicate with YOURBOYFRAND, but this advice is inherently bogus. I'm sorry if this is unsolicited advice, but when your boyfriend clearly communicates that he'd like to rape a member of your family, it's time to abruptly cut off all communication and go no contact with the boyfriend. Again, just my humble opinion.